Welcome to Robert Bellissimo at the Movies, where we explore all things cinema. Today's video will be focused on exploring what made Joan Crawford such a great actor. Last year, I interviewed Robert Dance and David Meuel, who are two writers, and they both wrote books on Joan Crawford, which I really enjoyed. Robert Dance's book is called Ferocious Ambition, Joan Crawford's March to Stardom. And David's book is called Joan Crawford in Film Noir, The Actress as Auteur. And we talked about so many things. And of course, what came up was Joan's performances, her amazing performances in so many films, and what made her such a great performance and such a great actor. And I wanted to really do another video where I just really make that the focus, because I don't think people give her enough credit for how good she was. And so this video is dedicated to that while talking to these terrific writers about Joan. I'll also leave the full interviews with both David and Robert in the description box below, where you can hear our really rich conversations about so many performances that Joan gave in movies and about her life and career. So I'll leave those links in the description box below. Without further ado, here is my episode on what made Joan Crawford such a great actor.
And her performance in it is so extraordinary, and it's incredible how much she can do when she doesn't have any dialogue. Like, for example, when she has the gun and she has decided to kill Jack Palance for planning to kill her, and this affair that she's found out about with him and Gloria Graham. And then you know exactly what she's thinking and feeling as she looks in the mirror and sees the gun, and what if, I can't do this, and I can't kill someone. She doesn't need any dialogue. You know exactly what she's experiencing, what she's thinking. And then I saw just after that Our Dancing Daughters, which the silent film. And of course, I couldn't help but wonder, she must have learned so much about how to use her face to convey what she's thinking and feeling, because naturally, that being a silent film, that's all you have is your reactions. And in that film, she's always, she was which is common in the silent period, is often the actors are maybe a little more broad or a little over the top, but I found she never was. She was very real. If she's crying, the tears were real. It always seems like she never felt the need to go bigger, at least in that film. So I can't help but wonder if she learned a lot about acting, through just really behaving and thinking what the character's thinking and feeling what the character's feeling. I don't know. Is there any indication or as to things that she specifically picked up on as an actor? I mean, I know she didn't formally study, or was it really just on the job by job, she picked up something?
She had the good fortune to come to MGM with no background whatsoever, including stage. So she learned acting, which was, of course, silent, on the spot.
Right.
She went from the smaller to bigger and bigger. And because she wanted to do a good job, you're exactly right. She never became a broad actress.
Right.
It wasn't like Clara Bow, she's often compared to, even though she was about youth and in films like A Dancing Daughter, she managed to underplay. And some smart director taught her to let the camera always come to her. She didn't have to force it. And by the time you get, now almost 25 years later to Sudden Fear, that great scene where she's in the closet, the door opens, the reflections in the mirror. There are, I think, a couple of minutes with no dialogue.
Right.
And it's the camera and Crawford and shadows. It's all, this is film noir, the
Yeah.
shadows. And as you say, she tells the whole story of I'm here to kill him, but can I kill him? Can I pull the trigger? All with the subtlest facial movements.
Yeah.
And these are what a silent film, a top silent film star learns. and she conveyed it as successfully as if they've been having a dialogue. And and that she was such a pro, and
Yeah.
she remembered those tricks, and having the perfect face for the camera, beautiful lighting, the beautiful direction, and was it Gloria Swanson? They don't need dialogue; they just have the faces. And there was a perfect
Right.
example, and it's the same year virtually as Sunset Boulevard. So it's
Yes.
the proof of what Gloria Swanson is talking about can still happen.
I wrote a book right before this. I wrote a book about the last year in silent film, and I wrote a chapter about Joan in Our Dancing Daughters. And one of the things that I realized is that she really learned a lot of techniques in silent film acting that she then brought into sound film acting. And then, you basically have all these actresses coming from Broadway where it's all about the words and the dialogue and,
Yeah.
and the nuance, that's how you, and Crawford was able to, other actors did this too. She wasn't unique, but I thought she did a great job of, taking all like the visual cues, like the body language and the facial expressions and everything like that were so important in silent film, and she brought it in to sound film. And so you really see her, just do amazing things with her face and her body, and on all of that.
Sudden Fear, for example, I mean, as you know, she has like long stretches of no dialogue, but yet we always know what she's thinking and feeling. And particularly the one that stands out to me is when she looks in the mirror with the gun and she's about to kill Palance, and then you see right away how she's thinking, what am I doing, and how did I get to this point? And you're right, it's all from that great silent film experience.
Yeah, well, it's in Sudden Fear, and she very deliberately. I mean, one of the things that no one had really made, that I had like research had done, made a big deal out of it. But in a memoir, the first memoir that she wrote about the fact that things were kind of like she was getting older, and it looked like Warner Brothers wasn't as interested in using her, and she kind of made the decision to like be an independent filmmaker, basically. And this is something that she did. She like went to the library and just read books, and just constantly looking for stories that would be good for her. And and then what happened was she one night she had read this mystery or this suspense thriller, Sudden Fear. And I remember, like, she writes about, she started at midnight and she finished about 4 a.m. and she was up in Carmel, and she just like took a walk on the beach and the whole thing fell into place in her head. I mean, you can really see how a really great creative mind thinks.
Yeah.
And the whole thing fell into place in her head, but she had this vision of a film where you would have long stretches of no dialogue. And I think Sudden Fear's like, to me, it's like a master class in acting.
Oh God, yeah.
And it's just, these stretches, and it's the scene when she's in the closet and then she looks at herself in the mirror that you mentioned. And then before that, there's a scene where she's like listening to this tape recording that wasn't supposed to be recorded.
Yes.
And just every expression, it's the clarity and the precision of all that stuff. I know in Humoresque, the character is nearsighted, and so she's always putting on these glasses.
Yeah.
And, and she's just so precise. She really believed that she was nearsighted. I mean, she just does such a great job of making that real.
Yeah.
And, just as an actress, I think she's like really, really interesting and worth studying. But then you see this too, where she's really kind of, it's almost like she's imposing her life experience onto each film that she does.
I want to thank all of my members on Patreon. If you're interested in becoming a member of my Patreon, head over to the link patreon.com/RobertBellissimo at the movies for full details. You can also leave a donation, or what I call a tip, by clicking the thanks link, which you will find directly below the video frame. Just click on that and you can leave a donation if you choose to. Of course, I would greatly appreciate that. And lastly, if this is your first time here, please consider subscribing. It is absolutely free to do so. By pressing the Robert Bellissimo at the movie logo, you will see it floating above my head in the top left corner to your top left. In just a second, just click on that. And then click the bell in order to get a notification every time I release one of my new videos. I would also really appreciate if you leave a comment, share the video, like the video. All of these things create traction onto my YouTube channel and really help share the video far and wide and the channel in general. So thank you so much for doing that, and I will see you all in the next one.